afternoon, everyone. My name's Debbie Joy, and as a celebrant, I welcome you here today. We'll commence with the service with playing a piece of music that, listen to the words in it. It's lovely.
Walking back into the light, into the sunset of your glory. When my heart and future eyes, there's nothing like that feeling. When I look into your eyes, my dreams came true. When I found you, I found you. My miracle, if you can see what I see, you're the answer to my prayer. And if you can feel the tenderness I feel, you would know it would be clear. Feels like I can born again. Every breath is your love. Every heartbeat speaks your name. My dreams came true right here in front of you. My miracle. When you can see what I see. You're the answer to my prayer. And if you can feel the tenderness I feel, you would know it would be clear that angels brought me here to be with you. I'll be forever grateful, oh, forever faithful. My dreams came true when I found you. My miracle, if you can see what I see, you're the answer to my prayer. Oh, if you can feel the tenderness I feel, you will know it would be clear that angels brought me yes, they brought me here. And if you can feel the tenderness I feel, you would know it would be clear that angels brought me here.
We come together to meet in this chapel to honour a life. The life of Sandra Anne Goldman, probably known to you all as Sandy. Today we also gather to offer support and comfort to her family and to each other at this sad time. Her husband Gary, daughter Natalie and Rodney, sons Brendan and Dylan, and his partner Em. And then there's the little ones amongst us, Sandy's grandchildren, Ryan and Seth and Mason, who I got to meet before. And also, she's a grandmother of twin girls, Quinn and Eadie, who are also at home, able to have a sleep and also Mum and Dad can just relax a little bit. They love their grandma as Dar. What a beautiful name to have. I thought it was short for darling, but I found out later on there's another story to it, and that'll come out as well. Our condolences also go to the person who has known Sandy the longest, and that was her older sister Debbie, and to her family, and also to the Goldman family. Our ceremony will be a simple yet dignified service as per Sandy's family wish. Sandy would want us to look back on her life and smile, to even laugh as we remember her as she was. The woman who had a love of tigers, animal print fabric, Bundy rum, and the one who could pour a good beer. It's natural that we should be sad today, because in a physical sense, Sandy is no longer a part of our lives. You're going to go into that bowls club and you're going to see her. You're going to miss her. I have a strong feeling that even though Sandy may no longer be with you in that physical sense, I believe she's left a mark on each of you that are here. Regardless of status or creed, everyone leaves a trace of themselves behind in our thoughts. Whether by a kind word or a deed or through achievement and example, we are each unique human beings with strengths and weaknesses and with a story of our own to tell. Sandy's life was like a chapter, like chapters in a book. Her childhood with her sister Debbie, her first chapter. Her chapter when she became a mother to Natalie and to Brendan. And then another chapter that started in 1995 when she met an electrician who brought a spark to her life. He told me that. It was the turning on of the romance switch for them both that led to their marriage and to the birth of their much loved and cherished son Dylan. I visited their home. Gary took me around there to see. It's all about family. And that's what turns a house into a home. I see all the little mementos, the photos, the grandchildren's names lit up in lights, the little things like that that mean so much. And then there's the tigers that I could have almost fallen over and got lost in. The rug on the lounge chair, the cupboard full of clothes. I thought I was a shopaholic, but I have nothing on Sandy. And that tells me that the bathroom and the toilet are all themed with dolphins. What a sparkle. That's how you should live life. You should live life with everything that makes you smile and laugh. You're now going to hear how Sandy has made her own special mark on the world through those tributes from family and friends. I'm going to ask Johnny Beresford to come forward, please, from the Bowls Club.
Thank you, Debbie. I tell you what, you'd be quite proud to realise how many people are in this room. Just to introduce myself, a lot of you will know me. My name is John Beresford and I have been given the honour of speaking on behalf of the South Toowoomba Bowls Club in relation to the many, many moments that we have spent together with this beautiful lady in front of me over many years at our club. But just before I carry on, I've got a little message here. This is from my wife, Sandy, another Sandy, and I'll just read this out to you. It won't take very long before I carry on. She says, Sandy always called me the naughty Sandy, and she was the good Sandy, but we all know who was the naughty one. Sandy was one of a kind. She was funny, caring, always thinking of everyone but herself, so good-hearted. If she saw something in the shops or online that she thought someone would like, she would buy it for them, especially if it was something funny. When Sandy was diagnosed with cancer 18, 19 months ago, not a day went past that we did not talk to each other. Either she would phone me or I would call her around about 4:30 p.m. every day. First thing she would say to me, ding-a-ling, ding-a-ling, knowing I could be playing the pokies, which a lot of the times I was. She loved going to the Newtown on a Tuesday when she was well enough to have a poke or play keno. We kept saying that we have got to give the pokies up. We would talk about anything and everything, mainly how she was and what was a good movie on Netflix. I'm missing those calls, good girl. We had a lot of good fun times together, especially 2 years ago when the 4 of us went to Sydney to home and away, which the boys really were very excited about. A trip we will never forget. We were going to plan a trip to Tasmania when she got better. We always kept hoping and praying that she would. We never gave up hope, and she tried very hard to fight it, but this horrible disease took hold. I will miss you, my friend. You will always have a place in my heart. Rest in peace, good girl. Love you from Naughty Sandy. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'll continue on with the stories from mainly based around the South Toowoomba Bowls Club. She was 1 in a million and we will never be replaced. If you ever heard the saying, I feel better now, you only had to look up and it was Sandy coming from the ladies' toilets. She was a classic. For all the years she spent working at our club, there were many, many moments and days that she had so much to do with in organising days. Over the years, our club has had bar staff days, money raising days for different organisations, Christmas parties, New Year's Eve parties, Melbourne Cups, and many more. On all of those events, she would have most probably been responsible for getting donations for prizes, raffles, etc. In many cases, she was the one who donated a lot of prizes herself. She was never backward in coming forward, approaching different people or firms to donating something. I have seen days when reps, whether they were from Forex or Carlton, wine companies, etc., walk into the club and Sandy in her beautiful scallywag voice would welcome them with that special cheeky smile saying, "Hello, darling, where have you been?" These reps would step back a bit, take a step knowing very well that the next question could be, we have a special day coming up soon. What can you donate to me to help us out? When those days arrived, there would be up to 30 odd prizes in the raffles or prizes for the day. She was wonderful at doing that. Sandy had a lot of friendships with many people, not only at our club, but everywhere. One of her special friendships over the years was with my beautiful wife, also had Sandy as her name, as I just said before. And I said one was the naughty Sandy and the good Sandy. She always introduced my Sandy to visitors as the naughty Sandy. And we have a pillow at home called the naughty pillow. Over the years, the club introduced night bowls on Wednesday nights. Sandy did not take part in the early years, but in later years, she decided to take up nine bowls. She finished up in the side called Ted's Angels. Ted was Ted Murray, with 3 girls playing with him. When she started to play, you had to be very careful where you stood during the game, as I'm sure she thought she was playing tin-pin bowls. You could have easily finished up with a very sore ankle or leg when Sandy let her bowls go. Sadly, we lost Ted, but she still continued on with the Ted's Angels team for a couple of seasons on. In her working days, in which she worked at a couple of the pubs in town, the Federal, the Southern, and then at our club, South Toowoomba, for all those years. I believe that looking over the people here today, I am sure she would have told a couple of you guys to behave yourselves or you will be going home. She did not beat around the bush. As a lot of us know, she was a real Tiger supporter. We at South Toowoomba are called the Tigers and we do wear plain shirts, as you can see today, us wearing covered in tigers. Also, that is why there are tigers up here with her today. The house is full of tigers. A lot of her clothes she wore had tiger prints on them. She was always full of mischief, and particularly this time of the year, state of origin, wearing blue jumpers, blue flags on her car. The club was always decked out in blue and maroon balloons, not as many maroon ones, but unfortunately. I am sure she was only trying to make out she was a New South Wales supporter, just to stir us Queensland supporters, which she did a very good job at. I can see when she arrives up in heaven, she will be the best barmaid, or bar person, they have ever had up there. She will be serving up Scotch to Harry, beers to Ted, Crofty, Derek, and many more, getting ready 3 tallies of BB for Tubby, and trying to find a bottle of port for Skivvy, and many other guys. I would like to finish off with, as I said, there will never be another Sandy Goldman, but my concern is that because she has identical twin beautiful granddaughters, and they're only little at the moment, but in the future we could finish up with 2 Sandy Goldmans. Wouldn't that be great? I can sense that she's trying to tell me, down here in front, to get rid of that microphone, Johnny, or Dr. Barrow, as she called me, I don't know where I got that from, as most people here are getting very thirsty. And she would like to start serving a few. So to Gary and her families, from the South Toowoomba Bowls Club, members and friends, we will always think of her and love her. Rest in peace, you beautiful girl.
You must have had your hands full calling out Sandy at the right time. 2 of them had turned round and you'd still be in trouble from both of them. It's interesting to hear the story about her and supporting the Blues as well, so I'm just going to have a little word and ask her to have a whisper in those Queensland boys' ears, a bit of a belt around the ear, and tell them to get their act together for the coming game. As we heard about Em, the mother of her beautiful twin boys. What a lovely present to give her. So, Em, would you like to come forward, darling?
I'm just reading a bit of a poem. It's lovely. No further away than a picture, a smile or remembered phrase. Our loved ones live in memory, so close in so many ways. For how often does a sunset bring nostalgic thoughts to mind of moments that our loved ones shared in days now left behind? How often has a flower or a crystal autumn sky brought golden recollections of happy days gone by? Yes, memory has a magic way of keeping loved ones near, ever close in mind and heart are the ones we hold most dear. We love you, Mum.
Thanks to the internet, I have some wonderful memories to share. It's my pleasure to be able to do that on behalf of people that have written them from the heart. And this is from her childhood friend, Kayleen, her best friend. I was extremely lucky to have had Sandy in my life for 44 years. Meeting each other for the first time at the start of our high school years, we made an immediate connection, and that has never changed. It didn't matter how long we were apart, we would always pick up where we left off. There was lots of special moments from our teenage years. The one I love is where she would crank the music up loud so the whole neighbourhood could hear it, and I would arrive unexpectedly at the house to find her letting loose with her finest disco movements and singing as loud as she could, not realising that she had an audience. Sandy was always a special blonde to our family, especially when she attended carols by candlelight one year with us, only to set the cardboard cup that was around the candle on fire. The antics of her jumping up to stomp on the flames and stumbling and almost falling down the hillside was something that only our special blonde could do. Another special blonde moment was at a birthday dinner, and she asked her how the squeezy sauce packets worked. All the while holding it while looking directly at the packet and squeezing the packet, popping it right in the face. And that's how they worked, she said, to the amusement of all those around her. Sandy was always an independent woman and a true fighter in everything she did. She was absolutely amazing wife, mother, grandmother and sister. And most of all, she was the best friend a girl could have. Sandy, you were one in a million. You will be deeply missed by those who loved you, and I'm so grateful to have been your best friend. I also received another one from Marcia and Terry. I didn't get a chance to meet these people before, so later on, just come up and say hello. Also with Kayleen, I'd love to meet you. On behalf of Terry and myself, I'd like to say to Gary and the family how terribly sorry we are for their loss. I first met Sandy many years ago when she worked at South Toowoomba Bowls Club. I was hoping to stand up in front of everyone and talk about our special friend in my life, and I realised that this would be just too emotional. Most of you sitting here today will know the Sandy I know. The kind, funny, lovable girl who loved working behind the bar and talking to people. Talking to people is a gift, and we need more people that do it in the world. It didn't matter who you were or what walk of life you came from, she treated people equally. She did a lot for the club, even down to buying tea and packets of soup so everyone who wanted could grab a drink for free. She was involved in a lot of events at the club, as Johnny said, but I think the bar stuff day was the highlight every year for members, and in particular for Sandy. She put a lot of time and effort into this day. And Sandy never expected anything in return. She just wanted people to have a great time. Sandy would buy presents for people out of the blue and say, "Because I love you, honey." What a good excuse to be able to buy something. One present in particular she gave to me one day, and I'll never forget, she said. As I approached the bar, Sandy said, "I have something for you." There were only 4 people in the room, and she brought out this little case with 2 handles. It was shaped like a bra. And I asked, "What's this, Sandy?" Sandy said, "When you go away, you can stick your bra and knickers in. It's cute, hey?" I opened it up and said, "Oh, thanks, Sandy, but going on the size of this, I'll only be able to fit 1 bra in here." And she laughed and said, "Obviously, you haven't had a good look at the size of your boobs lately. I reckon you could fit 6 bras in there at least." Cheeky! The 4 men in the bar all laughed, as did I. We had a housewarming party at my place in February this year. Sandy and Gary were invited. I thought that maybe they might not make it, but Sandy said, "I'm not going to miss this for the world." They did turn up, and Sandy presented us with a small gift. She was like a little kid and said, "Open it up. I saw it in a shop and it reminded me of you and Terry. I just had to buy it." It was 2 statues of garden gnomes. One was a little lady with a fat belly and long droopy boobs. The other one was a little fat man with a tiny penis. This is Marcia. And I said, "Yep, that's Tez all right." Sandy laughed. Sandy had the knack of making everyone laugh. Sandy and Gary had a great night, and I was so happy for her to forget her problems, if only for one night. We had a 4-day bowls trip to Harvey Bay recently. As sick as she was, Sandy got Gary to drive her up to the bay to see us play. They stayed at a friend's place, and Sandy came to 2 clubs to see us play. She was sitting in the club with Gary and the Barrows, and I took one look at her and my heart melted. And we just cuddled. When Sandy went home, she went straight to hospital. She said, "I'm going to fight this, honey, I have to." Terry and I visited Sandy in hospital. While there, Gary rang, wanting to know what flavour Slurpee she wanted. Well, Gary came with a horrible green-coloured Slurpee. Sandy said, "It's the only thing I can have." And I asked, "What is the thing you want to eat when you get out of here?" And Sandy said, "Oh, honey, it definitely has to be mashed potato and gravy." May I say, the day we heard of Sandy's passing, there were 2 competitions being played, including ours. We all decided to wear black armbands, formed a circle, and had 1 minute silence to remember Sandy. We all played our game, although it was hard playing through all those tears. A number of us had lunch at the club and we talked about Sandy. We then went downstairs to have a few drinks, and the entertainer sang a few songs that Sandy liked. While we were there, a magpie came to the door. We all just looked. Sandy used to feed the magpies at the club. She loved the baby magpies when they came each year with their mums. The club that day was packed, and we all laughed, reminisced, cried, and then cried some more. So goodbye, sweet Sandy. I'd like to say how you have gone to a much better place, but you and I know that you had so much more here to do. You fought so hard to stay there with Gary, your kids and your beautiful grandchildren. We love you, and I will look at my gnomes every day and think of you. Love, Marcia and Terry. Oh, they were hard. Now I've got Natalie's. Natalie also could. Pen and paper. My mum is my everything. She's my best friend, my confidant, my shoulder to cry on, my strength when I'm weak, my first phone call every morning, my biggest cheerleader. She was the kind of mum that texts you throughout the day with a heart and kisses and crosses and emojis, lots of emojis. She was the kind of mum that ends every conversation with, I love you. She was the kind of mum that I am truly so honoured to have had. She's the kind of mum that I hope my kids see me as someday. It's the unconditional love that she gave us that was so effortless. She was just the greatest. My mum, my everything. Thank you, Natalie. What I'm going to do is fold these up, and I'm actually going to put them with Mum. I met a good-looking young lad before called Dylan. Chip off the old block there. I can see the similarities there. I think Gary said he's more handsome. Dylan writes, growing up, I never had to worry about anything. Mum would always shelter me from the outside world. Probably why I was not allowed to go to sleepovers until grade 9, or able to walk the 100 metres to school until halfway through grade 11. Did she stand out in the footpath and watch you though? Yes. But Mum would always do the best and everything she could do for anyone. She taught me how to do so many things, mostly by showing how to not do them. Like reversing the car into a fence because it went straight in, I shouldn't have to move the wheel to get it out. Were you driving or was she driving? Mum. To say Mum was the life of the party was an understatement. She was loved, feared and laughed at by everyone she met. And although I only had 25 years with her, she and Dad raised me to be the man I am today. And without them, well, I simply wouldn't be here. No, seriously, it's how biology works. It's that spark in your dad, done. I know Mum was proud of me, and I know that all the values she ever carried I will always cherish and use them to be the best man and father I can possibly be. I love you, Mum, your little John boy. I sit and I look at the front row here and the 3 generations that are sitting there, 4 generations that are sitting there in amongst us. And Ryan wrote this. And I said he did perfectly. He couldn't have written it any better. And he says, when I was young, I couldn't say grandma, so I said da. And you fell in love with it. Ever since that day, you have been my da. I remember in the school holidays, Tuesdays were my favourite day because of shopping. We had those awesome Red Rooster dates. The sausage rolls from the bakery every time you drove me to school, and $20 for tuck shop, even though I had full lunchbox. I will miss all the times we had, Da, and I promise I will tell you all my memories of you to Mason, my little cousins and my kids. You mean the world to me, Da, and thank you for everything you did for me. I know you promised to be there for my 18th, for my first tattoo, my graduation, my formal, but I understand you would be there if you could. Just know that I love you like double infinity. Brian, I believe she will be right beside you, darling, even though you may not see her. She's not going to leave you behind, darling. Oh, so many thoughts and parts come to a person's life, don't they? When we sit in a room like this and we look at family members, we look at the tigers and we look at the photos up above us. Sandra was born in Warwick on the 23rd of January 1965, and I believe she had the opportunity to grow up during the fabulous time of the late 60s and the 70s. For those who remember it, I think most of us don't, I did, judging by the look around. For those who remember it, it's a good time for today. There was more freedom. We were off riding bikes around the neighbourhood starting early in the morning. When the street lights came on, we had to go home. Our parents hardly knew where we were. We had flag jeans, great outfits, the greatest music, and hanging out with your friends. No internet, so you had to have face-to-face conversation with others. And I heard in amongst everything how Sandy was a talker. And I think that, as I said, it's a great gift to have. Because sometimes we need people like that that'll bring us all together. So let us sit back and enjoy some photo presentations now of Sandy's life.
I took the supermarket flyers from your windowsill, through the day old tea from the cup, packed up the photo album Matthew had made, memories of a life that's been loved. Took the get well soon cars and stuffed animals, poured the old ginger beer down the sink. Dad always told me, don't you cry when you're down, but Mum, there's a tear every time that I blink. Oh, I'm in pieces, it's tearing me up, but I know a heart that's broke is a heart that's been loved. So I'll sing hallelujah. You were an angel in the shape of my mom. When I fell down, you'd be there holding me up. Spread your wings as you go. And when God takes you back, he'll say hallelujah, you're home. Fluffed the pillows, made the bed, stacked the chairs up, folded your nightgowns neatly in a case. John said he drives, then put his hand on my cheek and wiped a tear from the side of my face. And I hope that I see the world as you did, 'cause I know the life with love is a life that's been lived. So I'll sing hallelujah. You were an angel in the shape of my mom. When I fell down, you'd be there holding me up. Spread your wings as you go, and when God takes you back, say hallelujah, you're home. Hallelujah, you were an angel in the shape of my mom. You got to see the person I have become. Spread your wings and I know that when God took you back, he said hallelujah, you're home.
Homegrown alligator, see you later. Gotta hit the road, gotta hit the road. The sun ain't changing the atmosphere, architecture unfamiliar. I can get used to it. Time flies by in the yellow and green. underneath the hot sun, feeling like someone. I'll be riding shotgun underneath the hot sun, feeling like someone. South of the equator, navigating, gotta hit the road, gotta hit the road. Deep sea diving round the clock, bikini bottoms, lager tops. I can get used to this. Time flies by in the yellow and green. Stick around and you'll see what I mean. There's a mountain top that I'm dreaming of. If you need me, you know where I'll be riding shotgun underneath the hot sun, feeling like someone. I'll be riding shotgun underneath the hot sun, feeling like someone. We got two in the front, two in the back, saying along, and we don't look back. Time flies by in the yellow and green. Stick around and you'll see what I mean. There's a mountain top that I'm dreaming of. If you need me, you know where I'll be riding shotgun underneath the hot sun, feeling like someone. I'll be riding shotgun underneath the hot sun, feeling like someone. I'll be riding shotgun underneath the hot sun, feeling like someone. I'll be riding shotgun underneath the hot sun, feeling like someone, someone, someone.
She certainly loved to dress up, didn't she? So the comfort of having a friend like Sandy may indeed be lost, but the comfort of having had that friend is never ever lost. It's better to have loved and lost than never to have loved at all. To match the grief of losing her, we have that wonderful joy of having known Sandy, a joy of which you become especially aware of at this time. I believe Sandy, from the little that I know, really knew how to enjoy life, packed a lot into it, and her life hasn't always been easy for her. She enjoyed her work at the Bowls Club. She was dedicated. The Bowls Club members surprised her with a day of fundraising, I understand, where they were able to send her off to be pampered and to have had her hair done as well. What a lovely thought. She'd do anything for Gary and her children and grandchildren. Regular holidays were planned at Woolcock Beach. And then she would invite her family to come along and stay with her. Her memory with everyone's birthday was amazing. And the people whom she called friends was a very long list. She was delighted to finally get to Harvey Bay, and I saw it in one of the pictures there, where she was able to meet Dan and Steph from one of her favourite TV shows, My Kitchen Rules. It was a big thing for her. Sandy Goldman liked flowers, but she also saw them as a waste of money. We often hear women say that. Don't waste your money on me with flowers. Gifts from Gary were rare. But she would always remind him of that very fact in a fun way. He gave her a pendant once. Went to a lot of trouble with that pendant. And for years she was pulling it out saying, this is my birthday present, my Christmas present, year after year. They could laugh with each other and they laughed at each other. And that's important in a marriage. Gary finds it usual now that she has left him with little jobs still to do. He couldn't sleep the other morning, so some ungodly hour he was up there cleaning out the pantry. They could still feed a huge family for a month, and looking at all the parcels that had been left by that delivery man still. She was still trying to work out her mobile phone though, as it constantly was on dumb mode. As she called it, Sandy found great delight in thinking of others, and she certainly will be remembered for supporting the economy. Nat's got to clean up all the business side of it to make certain it's all there, and that's an effort in itself. There were a few tears and a few moments of laughter the other day when I met with the family. See, even Brendan, quiet, sitting there, remembers clearly his mum's yellow Sigma that she used to burn round in, and they had a cassette player. We all know what one of those is. Seth and Mason wouldn't know, but we remember. Cassette player sitting on the front seat, blaring away at top volume so that she would be able to hear it. What I do remember, what I admire about Sandy is the fact that she wrote a letter to her family. I think she knew her days were numbered. She wrote a letter to her family to let them know how she felt. They already knew that she loved them, but this letter was written from her heart and will be treasured forever. Inside the order of service was a verse that I took out of the letter to share with you all. It's not the greatest spelling. Probably her mind was going as quick, and she was probably trying to do it all, and the thumbs couldn't work quick enough with it. But to me, it is such a lovely thought. She was prepared. But Sandy's passing has shown us that life is too short, and that we have to appreciate each and every day that we have. It shows us to appreciate and love people that we choose to have in our lives. We cannot afford to take anyone or anything for granted. As we talked about Sandy today, and in those days and years to come, that you're all going to still remember her. You will reminisce. You're going to laugh and you're going to cry. You'll have regrets about things done or things left unsaid or undone. But you'll also learn from those moments in life, and quite often, that they can lead us into becoming much more compassionate and caring people. And the world can do with more compassionate and caring people. I'd like to share with you a verse that I selected for the family, and it says, "To my family, to my dearest friends, to people that I have loved and liked during my lifetime, I leave myself to your memory with love. And I leave my thoughts, my laughter, my dreams to you, whom I have treasured beyond gold and precious gems. See, I give to you what no thief can steal. The memories of our times together, the fun and laughter-filled moments, those wonderful successes we have shared, the hard times that brought us closer together, and the roads that we have walked side by side. All I take with me as I leave is your love and your friendship, and the millions of memories of all that we have shared. So I enter my new life as a millionaire. And fear not, nor grieve at my departure now. You who I have loved so very much, and always remember that my life and yours are forever entwined." Sandy wasn't a churchgoer as such, but she was a very in-touch person. And I'd like you to invite you to share the Lord's Prayer with me, please. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. And give us this day our daily bread. And forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. It has been just 20 months since Sandy was first diagnosed with the cancer that was making her feel sick. She passed away peacefully on Sunday the 13th of June 2020 at St Andrew's Hospital. And now we commit the body of our loved one, Sandy Goldman, back to the elements from which all life comes and to which in the end all life returns. Your happy nature we commit to our memories. With love and friendship we commit to our hearts. The body we commit to its natural end. With love we will leave you in peace. With respect, today we bid you farewell. Today we say goodbye to her earthly body, and cold treasured memories close in our hearts. The family have asked me to extend a wonderful thank you to the St Andrew's Hospital for their professional care of Sandy. Also to the wonderful members of the golf club that made her laugh the bowls club that made her laugh and smile over the years. And I also know that you're going to take care of Gary. Don't leave him astray. Thank you to Gary, to Natalie, Brendan and Dylan for inviting me to be a part of this service today. It's been a pleasure to meet with you. When I said I was talking to Gary, he remembered my husband, and I noticed there was a photo up there of Gary with dark hair. Because he'd said to me, really quite smart, so I remember Mark when he had dark hair. Well, my husband's silver, so my hair's remained the same, so I haven't aged. I sincerely hope in time you can all be comforted to some degree by the important last act that we have held in love and respect for that you've shared here. The greatest testimony to Sandy's memory is to make the most of your lives now and live every day as if it was the last one you had. May each of you have good health, happiness, lots of love in your lives, lots of laughter, and the ability to live it the best that you can. Enjoy your game of bowls, everyone, and enjoy those people that you play with. She slipped off to another bar because there's a lot of people waiting for her. We heard that from Sandy, from Johnny. I only found out just prior to this service that she never drank Bundy with Coke. She always drank pre-mixes, and I can't understand. Each to their own. Donations made to the John Stedman unit in her memory are really greatly appreciated. You don't realise how hard they work until you go over there. You're invited to the City Golf Club to share more memories of your time with Sandy, and our funeral directors from Humeridge will come forward very shortly and I'll escort Sandy's coffin to the hearse to commence on her final journey to the crematorium. But I'm going to ask members of her much loved bowls club to please make your way outside and form a guard of honour for your dear friend. As our service is now complete, I thank you once again for being here.
I'll hurry up, you in there.
Please everything to the family. And I hope
Yeah,
that you
jogging,
have
mate,
days from now on. And remember, we are all invited to City Golf Club. Share a drink. Put a drink on the bar. 3 bits, of course. And thank you. The funeral directors have come forward shortly. Pallbearers will be asked to assemble just outside past the house. Following behind the coffin, along with the family. I'll invite everyone to stand, please.